Hi, I'm Martin. Welcome to Oxford Online English. In this lesson, you can learn all about how to use the verb do. Do you want to see more free English lessons? You should visit our website, oxfordonlineenglish.com. You can also book English classes with our professional teachers who can help you with your English speaking, writing, IELTS preparation, or whatever else you need. One more thing. Do you want to watch this video with subtitles? You can. Turn them on now by clicking the CC button in the bottom right. This is a 5 levels lesson. That means you'll see 5 sections. Each section will give you a challenge. Each section is more difficult than the previous ones. The early sections will focus mostly on grammar. Higher levels will test your grammar and vocabulary skills. Level 1 is beginner, so if you're not a beginner, you should skip to level 2. Ready? Let's go. Look at 5 sentences. Complete each sentence with one word. Each word is a form of the verb do. Contractions like don't count as one word. Pause the video and do it now. Ready? Here are the answers. What do you need to know here? Use do to make negatives and questions in the present simple and the past simple. For example, take a positive sentence. I like bananas. Make a negative. I don't like bananas. Make a question. Do you like bananas? If you're talking in the third person, he, she, or it, use does and doesn't. Take a positive sentence. She likes bananas. Make a negative. She doesn't like bananas. Make a question. Does she like bananas? In the past simple, use didn't to make negatives and did to make questions. Take a positive sentence. They arrived early. Make a negative. They didn't arrive early. Make a question. Did they arrive early? There's one exception. Don't use do, don't, did, or didn't with the verb be, or with modal verbs like can. Verbs like be and can make their own negatives and questions without using do. Clear? If not, you can review this section again. If you think it's difficult, you should study the present simple and past simple verb tenses. Focus on how to form negative sentences and questions. If everything's okay, then let's move on to level 2. Here's your challenge for level 2. Your job is to put the words in order to make a question. That's important. You need to make a question, not a sentence. Pause the video and think about your answers now. Ready? Let's look. What does the first question, what do you do, mean? It means, what's your job? It's common in spoken English. In level 1, you saw that you use do to make questions in the present and past simple. There are different kinds of question you can make, but there's another point here. Do can be 2 things. It can be a main verb, which has a real meaning. It can also be an auxiliary verb, which you use to make negatives and questions. It can also do both things in the same sentence. All these questions use do twice, once as a main verb and once as an auxiliary verb. This is extremely common in English. Anyway, let's look at some different ways you can use do to make questions. You can make yes-no questions, which start with the word do, does, and so on. For example, see question 3. You can make questions with a question word, like what, where, who, and so on. See question 1 for an example. You can also make questions with a question tag, like numbers 2 and 5. This can have several different meanings. You can use a tag question to check something when you think you know the answer already. You can also use it to show surprise or interest. Here's a question. In number 2, the question tag is negative. Don't you? But in number 5, the tag is positive. Do you? Do you know why? If you want to check information, meaning that you want to ask a question, but you think you know the answer already, then the question tag should be the opposite of the main verb. That means if the main verb is positive, the tag should be negative. And if the main verb is negative, the tag should be positive. So, you do yoga, don't you? Means that I think you do yoga, and I'm asking to confirm my idea. Use a positive sentence plus a positive question tag to show interest. You do taekwondo, do you? Looks like a question, but it isn't really a question. It shows politeness and interest in the person you're talking to. This form is common when making small talk. You can also make negative questions, starting with don't, doesn't, or didn't. You use these to express surprise or frustration. Question 4 is an example of this. Like number 5, this isn't a real question. You use it to express an emotion. When you use negative questions, intonation is important. Didn't you do the dishes? Let's move on to level 3. This time, we'll do something a little different. Each of these 5 sentences contains a mistake. Your job is to find the mistake and correct it. Pause the video and do it now. Think carefully about your answers. Do you need to add a word, remove a word, or change a word? Here are the answers. Sentence 1 is an indirect question. An indirect question starts with a polite phrase like, can you tell me, or do you know? You use indirect questions when you want to sound more polite. Indirect questions don't use do, does, and so on as an auxiliary verb. This is a common mistake. In question 2, you need to use does as an auxiliary verb to refer to another verb, like, which you used earlier. In most cases, the auxiliary verb you need depends on the verb tense, not on the original verb. The exception is verbs like be, can, and so on, which can be their own auxiliary verbs. Here, the verb like is present simple, so it uses the auxiliary verb do, does. In number 3, you have a verb ask, which needs to be followed by an infinitive with to. Here, the infinitive is negative. You make negative infinitives by adding not. You don't use don't, doesn't, or any other form of do. In number 4, you need to know something about how to use do and make. This is more of a vocabulary point. In many cases, you need to remember whether a word like progress goes with do or make. Number 5 is also a vocabulary point. There are many fixed phrases with do, like do someone a favor. After do, you need a person. Do me a favor. Do you a favor, and so on. So, to review, the topics covered in Level 3 are indirect questions, do as an auxiliary verb, negative infinitives, do versus make, and fixed phrases with do. Where were you stronger or weaker? Think about what you know and what you need to focus on to improve. Anyway, time for Level 4. Here are your sentences for Level 4. You need to complete each sentence with 2 words. One word is a form of do. Remember, you must use exactly 2 words. Let's see the answers. So, what do you need to know here? In Level 3, you saw that there are negative infinitive forms. There are also negative ing forms. Like negative infinitives, you just add not to make the sentence negative. You can see this in sentence 1. Number 2 is a participle clause. The meaning is similar to because I hadn't done anything similar before. What about 3? Can you explain what's going on there? Remember that do can be both an auxiliary verb and a main verb, and it can also do both things in one sentence. Auxiliary verbs can be used to add emphasis. For example, if you want to contradict what someone else says. Here, did is an auxiliary verb which adds emphasis, and do is a main verb. So, if someone asked you, why didn't you do it? You might answer them like this. I did do it. I just forgot to send it to you. You use the auxiliary verb did to add emphasis and contradict the other person. 4 and 5 are vocabulary points. Do your best is a fixed phrase meaning try as hard as you can. For example, you could say, we did our best, but we didn't have 4 of our best players, so it's not surprising we lost 3-0. Do with is a conversational way to say want. I could do with a long holiday means I really want a long holiday right now. Remember, you can review any section of this video as many times as you need. Here's a tip. A big difficulty with do is that it has so many different uses. It can be a main verb, an auxiliary verb, or it can be used in fixed phrases and phrasal verbs. So when you see do in a sentence, ask yourself which thing it is. Is it a main verb, an auxiliary verb, or part of a longer phrase? Getting this clear will help you to understand how to use do more accurately. Now, are you ready for Level 5? Let's try. Ready for the hardest challenge? Here are 5 of the hardest sentences we could make. Your job is to complete them with 1 or 2 words. One of the words must be a form of do. Contractions like don't count as 1 word. Could you do it? Let's see the answers. Most of the sentences here test vocabulary points. For example, take sentence 1. In conversational English, do can have the meaning of be enough, but not very good. If you say, it'll do, you mean that it's not great, but it's enough for you. Sentence 2 tests a grammar point. Hopefully you know already that you can use do as an auxiliary verb to refer back to a verb or verb phrase you used earlier. If you didn't use do here, you would have to repeat the full phrase, his chances of working for the EU, which would be repetitive. However, here, you also need an ing verb. When you want to use do as an auxiliary verb to replace an earlier verb, and you want to use an ing form, or to plus infinitive, you should use do so. Do so is formal. In spoken or informal English, you'd probably say do it or do that. 3, 4, and 5 all test your vocabulary. In 3, get it done is a conversational way to say finish something. In number 4, doing well for themselves means that they're making a lot of money, so they have a comfortable lifestyle. In sentence 5, it hasn't done me much good, is a semi-fixed phrase. If you want to make the phrase positive, say, it's done me a lot of good. Of course, you can also use this to talk about other people. For example, she looks so much happier these days. Switching to part-time work seems to have done her a lot of good. So, how did you do? Which topics did you find the hardest? We think level 5 is the hardest because it tests a lot of fixed and conversational phrases. Do you agree? Please share your thoughts in the comments. That's all for now. See you next time.